Hello everyone and welcome. Today we'll be taking a look at a couple of highlight viewer submitted matches for the February 2026 viewer challenge. Yes, we start the day off. The map is Winter Madness. We have a red Zerg player occupying the upper left. It is Mutax. Or Mutax, maybe. I'm gonna go with Mutax. And their opponent here, the blue Protoss, the bottom right, it is Ockham's Razor. Ockham. Ockham kind of makes me laugh, though. BVZ to start things off. Probe already on the way with a mineral tribute to boot, to offer to the fellow player here. The Zerg in the upper left is going to get, I guess, a gift, an offering, perhaps a peace offering. Knowing Protoss, more likely maybe a cannon rush offering. There's no forge on the way, I will say, so I think we have a moment where I can say, would you like to know what the viewer challenge details were for this fine February month? Would you like that, beautiful viewer? Too bad. We're saving it for the end of the video. We will not be discussing it early. No, we're going to watch the viewer games. We're going to see which one or potentially more than one of these players is doing something absolutely absurd or sneaky or just plain weird. Creative, maybe. I know what the challenge requirements are. Of course, I had to publish them myself, but I will try to keep it a secret, and we can just watch, we can just enjoy the games. Maybe you can try to figure out what the challenge is based on what some of these players are doing. And then, at the very end, once we've gone through all the submissions, I will reveal the requirements, and then we can see, oh, that makes a bit more sense now, yes. Double hatch on the way. Very lovely to see. Typical type of Zerg play for this early stage. PvZ, I feel like out of all the matchups, it takes the longest to kind of get up and running. Because both of the players, both of the factions, they don't really want to do things super early, I would say. In a typical type of macro game, they're both going to want to take a few minutes to get themselves set up. The Protoss player, they're waiting on their tech, so they've got to get that cyber core up and running. Usually I would say it's a Stargate. We have a Robo on the way, which is a choice. I don't mind it. I'll say there are Robo openers, if you will, but I'm okay with it. We'll see kind of what comes out of it. I mean, if it's like an immortal play, you might intrigue me. I might raise an eyebrow. If it's something more like a disruptor drop, then I'm gonna have to call you ambitious. Twilight. Would you forget about the Robo already? Okay. Observer. Good choice. Okay, map vision, scouting potential. I like it, actually. I'm okay with that. The Twilight. Now I'm just curious. Okay. The Zerg player on the other side, Lair, on over halfway done. Roach Warren is their next choice. Slightly early if this were a standard macro setup, but I mean, they could be trying to time it with the Lair. They might want to do something a bit sneaky with this. The third really isn't droned up much at all. They're, like I said, they're both just kind of taking macro turns. That's another 3. That is 3 Robos. What on earth are you doing with 3 Robo facilities before the 5-minute mark? We're getting Immortal out of the first Robo. Charge was the choice from the Twilight. Thank you. Very good. Know your limitations here, my dear Protoss player. We go for Charge. Adding on the Forge. I will say, if they're going for Immortals, they're going to probably be really happy when they see the Roaches come out to play. Hydras look to be a natural follow-up for the Zerg player, which I think is something we can all agree with. Roach Hydra, it's not, I'll say, the best composition, but it certainly gets the job done. It's a bit of a a bloody bludgeon type of style. We're just gonna make wave upon wave of stuff and hope it sticks to the wall, I suppose. Oh my gosh, you are making immortals. Really? I've got a prism coming up too for just reinforcement, warping stuff, I feel. Where'd the observer go? Oh, he's right here. I'm looking at the observer. That explains why I didn't see him. Of course. He's just occupying the natural. The slow zealots appear to be on a bit of a scouting mission. They're just checking for what's happening. They already find an opportunity. Regicide is committed upon the Zerg's third base area. Roaches respond to the defense. We'll be able to at least get rid of the zealot that walked in and found all the tech. That's what happens when you leave your tech, like, in the foyer. Here, it's like, this is my most prized possession here. This is why it's by the front door. Of course. The Roach and Zergling combo moving out on the map. No Hydras in play yet. The triple Evo chamber makes an appearance, which is always a choice that someone can make. Triple immortal production continuing behind this, but the Protoss player moving out on the map. They've only got 3 immortals. The Zealots do have charge now, which is going to make them exponentially more scary, much more effective, truly. Are you really going to do this? We've only got 3 immortals. Well, the next wave is moving out, actually, so they might actually be able to get some stuff done with this. I mean, the Zerg player, they've only got 5 roaches. Okay. And they're still droning behind this. The Zerg player is not quite keeping tabs on what the Protoss is doing. They haven't really even scouted. Which means this is going to be the first time that they spot this army moving out, which is never the right time to be spotting the army, is when it's at your base, of course. That's a lot of immortals, actually. I'm a little concerned, actually, for the amount of immortals that are here. This is, what, 6? 6 immortals and a boatload of charged zealots. The Hydra is absolutely dumbfounded. His Flabber is completely gasted at the Protoss presence. He's not going to be able to help out much. The Queen tries, but even she's not strong enough to stop this. If the Queen can't do it, I don't know what can. Let's be honest, let's be real here. The Zerglings try their best, but they're just not quite focused enough, not enough number. Really, do you just steamroll this Zerg? Okay. Like, wait, there's a Spire. Okay, that's an opportunity. If the Zerg player cannot die for like 45 seconds and they get some mutas out, they've got enough money for 12 mutas. 10 on the way. I'm guessing they ran out of larva. Yeah, they ran out of larva at 10. So 10 mutas. I mean, it's zealots and immortals. So the mutas do win. The problem is the whole Ultralisk in a China shop type of ordeal. How much damage are they going to get done in the meantime? The drones pulled off the line, desperately trying to escape with their lives. Avert your eyes, Zerg players. Good grief. The unsafe work conditions. The mutas pop out of the eggs, will show themselves, start to pick off the immortal. Would love to see them kind of focus their fire. Would love to see the Protoss players split their forces here. That's the real counter. Well, I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. How much damage are they going to get done in the meantime? The mutas are rather split in their attention, which is good for the Protoss, I will say. Protoss marches up that main base ramp, goes right for the lair. Will, of course, get it with ruthless efficacy. The mutas working their way through the immortals, which is the real powerhouse of the force. The zealots are the mobile side, keeping the immortals safe, but now there's no more immortals. Their name's in fact false advertising, fake, untrue, heresy, if you will. No, come on. Oh my god, he gets it. The 2 immortals. Do they have any upgrades? They've got +1, so they are hitting rather hard up against those armored targets. One of them, barely makes it through the recall. Comes back with some pretty strong and colored bruises there. You are so not making it back. Turn around. Just try to lead him back to his base. The answer to mutas often. I'm sorry, the muta count went up. This is 15 mutas. The Protoss are making cannons. Why fight the mutas with units when we can fight them with buildings? Yes. I mean, maybe not the ideal strategy. Oh god, it was just one pylon. That's unfortunate. Cannon production continuing, mutas ravaging the probe line now. This game turned a bit on its head, actually. What felt like an all but assured Protoss victory there quickly turns into a scary moment. The Zealots sent across the map. This is the perfect answer. Okay, if you're somebody that is actually interested in learning, actually caring about what to do, mutas, go across to the other side of the map. Okay, if you are struggling with mutas, just try to squeeze some units out, get them on the other side so that the Zerg player has to pull them back to deal with your stuff. Mutas, if they're over here, guess what that means? They're not right here. Muta's not able to be in two places at once. The Zerg player would have to split them up, which isn't ideal because mutas, of course, they're social creatures. They're pack animals, after all. They don't do well on their own. Like a kid in a grocery store without their adult, okay? Just, it's a complete panic, okay? It's a terrible moment. The Protoss player continuing to send waves of Zealots, occupying the mutas at least. Behind this, I mean, what are we doing to really assure the game at this point? They don't have enough money. Nobody has enough money. I'll say the Zerg player is knocked down to 12 drones and is opting to spend their resources on 4 Zerglings at this point, which is, you know, like 4 Zerglings too many, if you ask me. If the Zerg player, I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to get enough Zerglings to actually deal with the Zealots so that the mutas can go across and win the game. I feel like that's the hope. That's the goal. At this point now, though, the Protoss player has had plenty of time to build some cannons. Like this third base, this is good. Okay. Protoss player gotta be sitting happy with this setup. I'd like to see a little bit more at the natural. There's only 2 here. 15 mutas can beat that with no battery support. You have... Oh, it's the observer. God, this hatchery is low. 3 more cannons on the way. They're all, it looks like, at the 4th base. The mutas get a moment to actually go in, make a move, try to get an attack done. They go for the pylon, which isn't actually the best choice, but it is still one that you can make. Losing a muta for this. Now you go for the pylon, now that nothing's shooting at you, of course. Go for that other cannon. Start to whittle something down. Where are the Zerglings? Why aren't the Zerglings helping out? Here, okay. They're making 12 lings behind this, which I still don't like. I'd like to see them just make some drones. Try to get themselves back in this. The Protoss player has not really made much of anything as far as army units. They're trying to defend this with cannons. Okay then. Well, this is awkward. The muta's now in a rather strong position. Hey, the Zerglings finally woke up, finally decided to join the party. Mutas move into the main base, start to pick off some of the defenses. Cannons look like they're the primary target. That's a decent amount of cannons here at the back of the base, I will say. I think the 15 mutas can handle it. The 3rd base, though, that's a no-no. Okay. 6 cannons plus battery support, that's a bit rough. That's a little bit much. The muta's pulling back, actually, because the Protoss player, similar to what I was just saying a few minutes ago, Protoss player squeezes out a few Zealots, gets them on the other side of the map. That's going to make the mutas have to come on home. The Zerglings, though, left in the Protoss's base and having their way with the place. I will say the natural could be completely wiped out. The mutas do take care of the Zealots in the main base. The Zerg player lost some drones. Oh god, they lost the 3rd. Oh man, that's bad. Zerg player knocked down to just the main base. 14 drones to their name. and decides now is lair and roach time again. Deja vu much. The circling's still doing their thing though. I mean, what's our angle here? What's the goal? The Protoss player, they just keep making zealots. I mean, if the Zerg player is given enough time, they'll be able to make enough stuff to overwhelm this. The cannons, they don't get stronger as the game goes on, of course. Severe Protoss inferiority, if you ask me. When do we get an upgrade? Okay, upgrade at the... Let's go with Templar Archives. Well, let's go with an upgrade at the Templar Archives to buff cannon, damage, and shield. Okay, I think that sounds very reasonable, right? That way you can't do it as just a pure cannon rush, but maybe later on. Well, they find the 4th base over here. Zerg player goes for the pylon, will depower one of the cannons. 2nd pylon to target now will be picked up. That was both of the pylons in play. No more power for the Protoss, which means those defenses no longer helping out. Mutas, though suffering some losses, the count's down to 9. We started at 15 mutas. Bleeding the mutas off over time is a possible victory condition for the Protoss. The hatchery picked off again, it looks like. Excuse me, pardon me. Oh, dear heavens. My goodness. Well, that's not going to work out too well for the Zealots. They do get one of the roaches, actually. Not too shabby. But reinforcements for the Protoss will quickly turn the tides. The roaches now outnumbered, outgunned, outbladed, if you will. Which is going to force the mutas back home. Mutas pull away from the 4th base. The Protoss player... The decision to still only make zealots. I mean, do I like it? Not particularly, but it is working, at least. Focusing down the hatch. 4 zealots. Oh my god. They barely get it. They will get the hatchery. The natural picked off again. Zerg player losing resources left and right. Oh god, this was a bad time to send those zealots in. There's a base over here? That's ambitious. Okay. But the Zerg player can't see it with the creep. They spread the creep out. Like, oh, hello there. Yes. Buildings canceled out. I agree with the choice. Definitely. The cannons can't fight the mutas very well before they're warped in, so you might have to just cancel them out. Gets the probe. Kill the probe, kill the problem, I suppose. We'll have to cancel this nexus. We'll have to cancel this nexus. Okay, I think... maybe? Yeah, they got it, okay. Don't scare me like that. But they did let it go, I suppose, just to buy a little bit of extra time. Letting the Zealots get across here. The Zerg player still just trying to clean up all these Zealot-shaped fires. A spire is completed, but they don't have nearly enough money to support it. The main actually mines out, and there's no hatches anywhere else. The mutas, they'll connect with the Zealots. Oh god, the Zealots, though. They're dealing quite a bit of damage. Okay. The spire lives. The spire is fine for now. Another hatch is made in the bottom left corner here. A bit of a bingo base. Will the Protoss know about it? I wouldn't expect so. They're sending out another wave of zealots. They've only have made zealots and immortals this match. Like, not the ideal way to fight mutas, sure, but it is still working out. You see, Indigos. The secret to fighting the mutas is to not fight the mutas. Yes. As a mutalisk enjoyer myself, I am inclined to agree. Wave number 2 fails at killing the spire again, but they did get it even lower, so I suppose the next wave of 3 zealots, wherever they're warping in, well over here. Okay. The dial-up pylon. The mutas, they should see this. Yeah, they see the pylon. Okay. The Protoss player just moving their stuff around. The probe. No. Oh, come on. No. What are the odds that you both decide to try to go for the bingo base here? The probe sees the hatch and is like, oh no, you didn't. 6 zealots immediately warped in. I mean, at this point, zealots is really all they can make. They're just now getting another cyber core. We're 20 minutes into the game. The zealots, looks like they're moving towards this bottom left. The muta's racing through the sky, trying to get to them, trying to perhaps stop the attack. GG goes out. The Zerg player gets sick of it. Zerg player calls the match. Protoss will be the victor. How many? Really? 72 zealots were lost in this battle. 16 immortals. All you built was zealots and immortals. This poor Zerg player, though. The Mutalisk struggle, I'm going to have to call this one. My gosh. Well, certainly entertaining, so I will say thank you for the submission, of course. That is not all for today, folks. On to the next match. The next match of the day will be played on the map Taito Citadel here. We have a blue Terran player, command center in the upper left corner. It is Jabika, I'm guessing. And their opponent here, the red Zerg player, the bottom right, it is Nani Safari. Okay. Name nomenclature creativity this day, it would seem, for at least this match, we can call it. And a Zerg versus Terran to spice things up a little bit. No Protoss, 0 Protoss in sight, at least so far. I'd be a little impressed if somebody whipped that out in this lovely 1v1. We will get to see which one, or potentially more than one of these players, is doing something rather absurd, sneaky. The Zealot and Immortal combo of our last match was certainly one way, I suppose, to deal with the Mutalisk threat. Probably not the ideal, not the recommended, but it's the way we got, so we're just gonna enjoy that. Likewise, we're just gonna see what happens, enjoy this one. We've got the Overlord action cam, and it looks like a brief moment before somebody does something completely haywire, so I can say, hello, beautiful viewer, how are you doing today? I really hope you're having a good day. If you're not, I'm sorry for that. Don't beat yourself up too bad, okay? Enjoy a little bit of StarCraft, have a snack. It'll get better soon, I think, maybe, probably. Or maybe the meteor will hit the planet and then everything really won't matter, so I guess take comfort in that too. Nihilism. Back to the Overlord action cam. Oh, actually, screw the Overlord action cam. We have a lair. Like, you don't even have any drones. Why are we making a lair here? They just barely, like, they begrudgingly got a second base here, it looks like, and we're already going for a lair. What on earth are you cooking up here? What are you trying to do with this? The Overlord, I'll say, on the other side, spotting perhaps just as strange of a decision. The Terran player is not going for any type of command center, instead going for double starport, double tech lab. You guys smell that? You could get your ghost or sniffers out here. That smells like banshees to me. Because I'd be a little surprised if they start trying to afford 2-port battlecruiser here. Okay. They misclicked. Okay, I saw the Liberator first, and I was like, wait, what? Like, double tech lab Liberator. Like, you don't even need a tech lab for a Liberator. Okay, no, he knows. It was a misclick. They are going... Wow, you really have trouble with these starport buttons. They went for medevac this time, too. I mean, at least medevac and Banshee are close to each other on the keyboard. It's E for Banshee and D for medevac, I suppose. Liberator, though, I don't even think I remember what the default is for Liberator. I'm pretty sure I made mine Q because it's on that side of the keyboard. Changeling goes out, and an attack ping on the starport tech clip. The Banshee comes out. It's like, I haven't made any Marines. We have been able to ascertain what the lair was for. It is for a rather, at least thus far, decorative Nidus network. I admire the ambition, I suppose, of getting the Nidus network nice and early before you actually have any units, but that is going to pose a little bit of a risk. Spines and spores galore. I at least agree with one of those choices based on the Banshee heading across to the other side of the map. The Overseer is going to be in a good spot for the Nidus network. The problem is now the Nidus network's rather exposed. Were those drones? They're putting drones in the Nidus. The Banshee's going to start hitting the network, though. And this one's going after the spines. That's a bit of an issue. The spore moves up, starts to perhaps... Oh my god, it's not in range. It just offers detection. Well, they will get one of the Banshees. Transfuse goes out on the Nidus network. The Queens go in. That's not a good move. You're trying this now? They might lose the Nidus. Oh my god, one of the Queens was still in. The Queen dies in the network. The other one dies as soon as she gets out. The Nidus from over here is canceled because it wasn't completed. The Nidus network disaster. Oh god. That's not a good start. They're trying it again though. They're going for it. Okay, another network comes up. The Queens. Oh man, that's bad. They saved most of the drones, I will say. They were able to get the drones out of there. If the spores had just been a little closer and actually could have helped in there, or the Queens hadn't gone into the network just quite yet. Oh my word, that's bad. The Terran player, has to be feeling at least a little good about that, I suppose, is going for a fusion core. Okay. Because naturally, after you go 2-port Banshee on one base, the only logical move is to go 2-port Cruiser on one base still. Yeah. They're trying it. They're really doing it. I was joking. Okay, you're not supposed to actually do it. Banshees and Marines will spot the Nidus Swarm coming up. Oh god, does he get the Overseer? No. 2 health. Just barely. The medical bills this Overseer is about to rack up. Okay. Worm comes up over here. I agree with the choice to do it a little bit safer. You're not cracking the main base. You don't need to crack the main base at this point. It's like, just start to contain him. Expand wildly. You're already doing what you need to, I suppose, as the Zerg. At this point now, you need to keep an eye on what he's building. That's a lot of drones. Like, a good old 8-minute spine and spore Nidus rush over here. We've got enough Queens to support, at least help out before the battlecruisers get here. 2-port battlecruiser versus Queens. I don't quite like that. This build is going to actually give me a little bit of hives. The battlecruiser openers, the Zerg mate is haunted and terrified. Oh, the Queen's helping out. The battlecruiser doesn't have enough armor just quite yet to shrug off all of the hits. Really cancel. No, it is a kill. Okay, we'll be getting that one. In a really nice spot. And actually denying most of the Queens. One of them not able to help out. Oh, he's getting a little low though. Draining the energy on the Queens is a helpful decision. Is actually something pretty good for the Terran. Spores and spines moving up. Behind this, I did see a spire. There's not been anything made from it just quite yet, though. Oh. Oh. Well then. Hello there, he says. The Spore targets down the red health cruiser, will actually succeed. We'll take it out. Transfuses go out, buying just a little bit of time. I'm not sure the Queen can handle this. I'm not sure the Queen can handle this. It is close, though, actually. The cruiser down to only 63 health, starts to pick off some of the drones. All 3 Spores uproot, start to move to chase. Will actually get it. Both cruisers destroyed. That's not good for the Terran. Look at the resources lost. Nearly even, thanks to him throwing away 2 battle cruisers. Oh my word. Well then. How the turntables, I suppose. Where are the Marines going? Okay. I think you might want to stick to battle cruisers, Mr. Bika, here, because the Marine control leaves a little to be desired, but we'll see as time goes on. Banshee, good cloak actually, not quite in range of the Spore for detection. Yamato goes out, gunning down the Queen. Next one will be targeted. There is transfuse available though. Zerg player has been adding on a few drones here and there, so they're starting to mine from the gold base. They have such a bank. Oh my gosh. What are you gonna do? We're making mutas. I'm sorry. In what hellish universe have I awoken? We've gone for Nidus Queen Muta off of, what, 2 gases here? Good grief. They're making stuff work with the spines on the Spores, I will say, so that's at least something. Yamato the Muta. Okay. Overkill. Overkill much, my friend. Well, the Muta chooses death, it would seem. The lone single Mutalisk flies into range of the cruiser. Nidus? No. Nidus Worm, I will say, will be dealt with, but they still have the network, so they could go for a replacement if they wanted. There's 3 drones in the Nidus network, actually. Scan goes out, starts to clear just some of the creep tumors, I guess, to try to deny a little bit of vision. Oh, too many queens! Fly, you... The panic. The panic teleport. Like, quick, over there. Jumps a whole 10.5 feet, I suppose. 2 meters for my friends that actually use the metric system there. The Queen's actually putting up a really strong fight. The battlecruiser has the repair support, so will be plenty. Got 3 cruisers. Like, even without the Yamatos, I think the cruisers would have won that. This is an issue. What happened to the mutas? We have 9 mutas that are just kind of chilling all over the place. We don't even have them really rallied. Yeah, you don't have enough gas, my friend. You took a gold mineral base and then decided to go muta. Okay, this is... It's not a great recipe. Okay, I don't know what kind of cookies you're trying to bake here, but they're not going to come out super well. Spore's offering some rather nice anchor, durable support. Repairs going out. Oh my god, this isn't even an orbital. Look at the creep. The creep is going halfway up the command center at this point. And suddenly the mutas show themselves. Battlecruisers, unrepaired, will actually get destroyed. I'd say you back off at this point. Yamato goes out, will get one of the mutas. Okay, like... Yes, I do love Zerg. Okay, so there might be a little bit of bias in here. But... really, Battlecruiser Yamato has no maximum range? Like... we have it set so that ghosts have a maximum range. If a unit can get far enough away, it'll break the snipe lock-on. We don't have that for Yamatos. That feels kind of busted. Since Yamato no longer costs any energy, it's just a long cooldown, I guess. Maybe that's the trade-off, I guess. There's a long cooldown, Indigos. It's balanced, it's fair. You tell that to that Mutalisk's family. Okay, We thank you for your Mutalist service, but he died in a fair and balanced engagement. Well, really, how did he die? He got blasted with the power of the sun here, and there was nothing he could do about it. Yes, very fair and balanced. Here's a gift basket. Somehow, someway, we landed on siege tanks to deal with queens and mutalisks, which I'm gonna go back to my previous statement. You might want to stick to cruisers. Cruisers not actually a terrible choice, a terrible decision. More Yamatos go out, a couple more mutas will fall, but the Zerg player now has the production. They added on some gases. They got 2, 4, all 6 gases, mostly, up and running. Ooh, jumping. Teleporting away. The queens come back through the Nidus, which is, I don't think, going to be quite enough to deal with this. They will get one of the cruisers, will do that, but the transfuse severely lacking. Will not have much success with that. The mutas decide to engage and split their focus. Less than ideal, for sure. God, all of the cruisers are about the same health there. They start to try to pick them off. It's not enough. Yeah, no, that wasn't very good. Yikes. That's a bit of a yikes. The mutas having a tough time getting the job done. I will say mutas aren't terrible. They're not ideal, of course, but I'm still guessing there's something going on here behind the scenes with the challenge, maybe. Mutas, they will eventually clean this up, it looks like, with Queen's support. He gets out 17 health remaining, not too shabby. Refinery's exhausted. Repair. Can somebody help him out, please? Timmy. Hey, good job, Timmy. Okay. Slightly less timid right now. Good job. Most impressive. Okay. So, that happened. That was something that happened. The battle cruisers mostly lost. How many cruisers have you lost? 7. We've had 7 battle cruisers destroyed. 31 mutas, 19 queens. Not the slugfest I was expecting to see. The Zerg player finally remembers upgrades, which is actually still somehow ahead of when the Terran remembers upgrades. Going for an Evo Chamber, adding on the Flyer attack. NG Bay coming up here for the Terran. Yamato's going out onto the Spores. I like the decision, actually. The Queens don't have much energy, so they're not much of a focus. Losing another cruiser, not ideal, though. Like, where was my panic teleport there, huh? Landing sequence interrupted. Cannot land there. Mutas will find the command center, will connect the battle cruisers. Uncaring so far. No, they might try. Okay. I don't think they can save it, though. The orbital just barely starts burning. I think he should be able to save it. He'll be fine there. Cyclone here. That's an ambitious choice. Siege tank, likewise, not going to work out too well. The battle cruisers show up. There's only 2 here, though. There's a third somewhere. I'm guessing just fresh off the production line. Yep. Hot off the griddle here is that battle cruiser in particular. 17 mutas is a scary amount, though, and counting. 5 more on the way. I think the Zerg has finally hit enough economy, enough production that they're gonna get it done with this wacky and silly composition. Queens pop out of the Nidus network, surprise, the Queens might say, in their own special way. Mutas pick off the tank. The splash damage is going to be able to bounce onto the SCVs, which will hamstring and harm the repair efforts. Not that it's actually even needed. The mutas focus down the cruisers. Only 1 left. Why aren't we going for it? It's so close. Where did all the mutas go? The 15 mutas, they're just chilling over here. Let's get it done with queens now. No, okay, here they come. That's good. The mutas connect with the cruiser. It will actually go down. Could go after the SCVs at this point, but I'm guessing it's a gentleman's match, okay. 20 minutes, no mineral line rush, I guess. Mutas finally gather up the courage and ambition to go up into the main base here. Flyer attack is helping out wondrously. Queens have gotten the creep line far enough to be able to help out in the natural. Transfuse? Transfuse? Nope. Okay. Well, the mutas are doing their thing, I will say. Picking off the tech labs will deny any more production for the Terran, who is also out of gas, both figuratively and literally, it would seem. SCVs, there's no gas for repairs. Oh no, all they could do is emotional support. They will all be picked off. Only one SCV remains, and that will be all they wrote. Really? Like, the choice to go Muta Queen, I feel like an interesting choice. Thoughtfully crafted, well executed. Boy, that Battle Cruiser versus Muta Queen was not quite on the bingo card, but I'm gonna say that's my bad for having a bingo card on a viewer challenge day. Who knows what to expect, right? Good news, though, that is still not all for today, folks. There are even more on our menu today, so let's hop to it. On to the next. The next match of the day takes us to the map Old Republic here. We start with a Terran player occupying the upper right corner, the red SCVs of Stuart. And another Terran player, the blue SCVs landing into the bottom left. We have Forever Noob. Forever a noob, huh? No improvement. No, we never actually get any better. Okay. Very Terran type of move. You don't actually get any better. You just start to blame other things more, right? That's the Terran way. That's the Terran strategy. There's no Protoss in this map to blame though, so what are they gonna do? TVT. Did you know, guys? I don't know how much y'all really pay attention to the statistics, to the numbers that involved with StarCraft, okay? But sometimes I like to take a little bit of a deep dive. Did you know that Terrans lose 100% of TVT battles? I think that sounds pretty absurd, honestly. I mean, we also have to consider, though, the antithesis. Terrans have 100% win rate in TVT. Like, you can't tell me that's not sounding rather imbalanced, okay? I mean, as a non-Terran player, I have a 0% chance of winning a TVT. Are you for real? That doesn't sound fair at all. I think that's something we have to consider. Have to maybe throw a bit of a complaint around the balance forum somewhere. Yes, the proper and professional place for all balance complaints. Speaking of proper and professional, we have a command center in a spot I would definitely not say is quite the expected place for a command center, but as I'm sure we've established, the viewer games and the viewer challenge day in particular is no place for expectations. No, that sounds like a bad idea. That sounds like a bad move. If I'm coming in with expectations, that's my mistake. Okay. We're gonna see what this is really for. At least one of these players, possibly both, is doing something rather specific and rather absurd. Is it absurd enough to have an engineering bay this quickly in the back of the base? Maybe. Is it absurd enough to float a planetary somewhere? Do you have any bay? No, yeah, they don't have an engie bay. Okay, so they can't. It's a factory. That's boring. Full wall back at home. SCV will be denied. A little bit of scouting there. Red did make their command center on the high ground, a decision I do not fault them for. Factory, tech lab, reactor barracks. What is this? Oh, starport. Okay, so a 2-1-1 play. Naturally. What is blue? Like, are we really? Is this the expansion? Really? Like, this is just the base we're taking? What are we dealing with here? Okay, so, well, actually, that's rather different here. Rather strong difference in the atoms. We'll see what that, I guess, really translates to as the game goes on. Orbital command kicking in. Bunker. I don't mind the decision for the bunker. I would like to see it a little bit further out, maybe. Like if you messed up the placement here, it's fine. But I still like. Why take the risk here? Siege tank on the way for red. Starport, the next move for blue. The factory's getting a reactor. Based on the starport, I'm gonna throw out some suspicion and say this is not... Okay, I'm wrong. I was gonna say the reactor isn't for the starport. No, the reactor is for the factory. Okay. A mine drop? Is this a proxy mine drop? The starport's getting a tech lab. Oh god. Fusion core. Also proxied, might I add. Different location. The blue here is not afraid to throw their buildings wherever they should not be. Absolutely no shame about it. They're going for Widow Mines, and based on the Fusion Core Tech Lab combo, I'm guessing a battle cruiser. Which, okay, great. Well, the Widow Mine's going to have a little bit of a tough time trying to slow dance their way into the natural thanks to the presence of the siege tank. That's definitely going to hurt things a fair bit. Missile turret. Who blocks it with a missile turret? That's great. Like, well, if he floats the command center down here, he's going to take some damage. Yeah, he will, I suppose. No, not a bad idea. Red, like, what are we doing here? What's our plan? Our plan right now is very little production, it would seem. We're going instead for workers. We've got STEM for the 8 Marines that we have currently. At least that's better than I was expecting, because usually when I see an early STEM like this, they have like 4 Marines. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Republic Commando, come on. It is a battle cruiser. Get those bingo cards out, start checking things off. If you have a TVT bingo card, both, I'm sorry, because that's a sad existence. Also, battle cruisers are here. You can check off that piece. The SCV does eventually find everything over here. Will be spotting this, sees the starport with the tech lab. Has not spotted the fusion core just quite yet, though, so... They're trying, though. The Widow Mines might actually steer them into finding said fusion core. He spots the armory, spots the depots. Oh, we noticed. They did get there. They go after the SCV. No, move. Go here. Find the fusion core. This is important. They do. They eventually stumble and accidentally make their way into the scouting the fusion core. The battlecruiser's already done, though. What are we doing? What are we doing with the cruiser? The timer's ticking. Well, the timer's ticking very slowly, I will say, because there's only a couple turrets in the main base, it looks like. Where'd it go? They pulled it home. Oh my god, the first jump is to go back home? The introverted battle cruiser, I love it. Oh my god. You made it out on the map. Battle cruiser, the only thing it's ever known is the nomadic lifestyle that you gifted it, and it's like, I just want to go home. I just want to settle down somewhere, okay? And it jumps back home to get rid of the missile turret and the in-progress bunker, I think, which didn't even have any army units. Like, the only reason to do this is if you're actually going to take your natural, which I don't believe you are. If you are the submitter, the viewer of this, first of all, thank you, of course, for the submission. Secondly, I don't believe you're going to take this base. I'm calling it right now. You are so not taking this natural. Battlecruiser production continuing. Extra starports on the way because, hey, why not? It's working out well so far. Drilling claws coming up for the Widow Mines. TVT. Like, we got one person who's rather voluntarily I heard a jump. The siege tank's gonna set up, start to go after the SCVs. 2 battlecruisers jump into the natural with a severe lack of anti-air. Marines offering some response. Vikings trying their best to help out. The Widow Mines set up in a decent spot to help out and defend. Siege tank dealt with via Widow Mine. No. Beautiful. Another battlecruiser jumps. Will get here in time. Will actually be able to deal with the Marines. Not before the Widow Mine helps out too. 1 health. No way. Come on, this medevac. From the initial mine hit, surviving, going up against the battlecruiser. No way. Come on. Like, it doesn't even have any armor upgrades, does it? No, it doesn't. Blue's going for armor upgrades, which is to help out, I guess, both of their forces. Their battlecruiser Widow Mine forces, huh? Hey, Red, realizing this is not a pick-ban type of system, we are actually going to go battlecruiser versus battlecruiser, huh? The trick will be to try to outproduce them, though, which, I mean, I say it like doesn't sound that hard, but you got to remember what we're dealing with here. We're not even using all of the production facilities we have. 3 cruisers active and ready. Concussive shells, the natural answer to deal with battle cruisers, yes. An interesting choice in locale for jumping. There's not really anything in the main base, I will say. A couple of hatted depots. Depots with their hats. Thanks, Depot Dave. I feel like at the current time, you want to send this cruiser in right as you know these cruisers have jumped, because then they can't get home. I feel like that's the logical move. Now we'll get to see what the viewer move is, though, because we know those can be rather distinctly different. We're going for a contain here. Widow Mine battlecruiser contain. Don't make me speed this matchup here. Red still stuck on 2 bases, going for smart servos for the 1 Viking we have, I guess. Oh, maybe the Thors. I don't know why you would want to take the Thors out of cannon mode, though, when you're up against battlecruisers. Thors, I love the idea of Thors fighting battlecruisers. I feel like it makes sense because of the cannon mode, but in my experience, it's just sad because the battlecruisers can actually outmaneuver the Thors so dramatically. Between jump and being a flying unit, Yamato going out, enemy cruiser dealt with rather quickly. Marines stimming forward, having some trouble with the Widow Mine shots, but actually getting a decent connection on the cruisers. Multiple cruisers in the red. Both of them will be dealt with just barely. The Viking Cyclone able to get it. The battlecruiser over here pulled back by an all-army move. No, that's so bad. He jumps into the enemy main base here. Will be able to do it, but Blue's cruisers did not actually jump. So, where are they? No, you did not. Did you they just jumped to this base. Oh my god, that's so bad. Okay, there's more. There's more. Ooh, Yamato just barely not taking it out. Widow Mines with those drilling claws are going to burrow a lot faster. Widow Mine gets rid of the cruiser. A clip for the highlights, I will say. Widow Mine explosions, I think, are always a strong contender. Oh my word. The Widow Mines are doing an actually scary amount of damage now. The Widow Mines are being annoying, being a nuisance. 13 of them in total. Battlecruiser production, kicking back into gear. Planetary coming up. What's our upgrades like? +2 armor. Not a bad choice. Battlecruiser armor is a fantastic answer to both Marines and enemy battlecruisers. Since the battlecruisers and Marines both have a low damage value, like they only hit for like 6 apiece, having that extra armor is actually going to make a really big difference. Not that I think he needs it in this battle. Yeah, that went about right. Siege tank's not helping out in the slightest. Battlecruiser flying. Oh my god. The physics from the Yamato cannons. Alright then. Oh, mines. Burrow will get a hit on the Raven, just barely, not going to get rid of it. Siege tank, they're actually helping out a little bit up against the Widow Mines, but now the problem is the battlecruiser count is getting too high. 9 cruisers? That's terrifying. A anti-armor missile, actually a solid answer. The problem is there's nothing to really support. Cruiser jumps, goes after the enemy main again. We'll be able to get, I think, the SCVs, since Blue is not wanting to save them in the slightest. We'll start to pick off the orbital command as well. Second cruiser jumps over into the top left. The unfazed, uncaring. I actually have to admire the stoicism here. We're getting repaired, Indigos. Okay, I can't. That just wasn't a very fair fight. The depot. Oh, it's gone. The depot burns. What happened to this one? This one dealt with too? Looks like it. Okay, there. Yeah, a couple cruisers leaving the base. Red has been just bleeding off forces left and right here. 5 cruisers lost. We're still making Thors. I like the decision. I wish Thors were like the perfect answer. I feel like that's such a great idea to have that ground versus air type of setup, but we'll see what actually comes of it. There's a few answers you can go with. I mean, the Thors, they have a high damage point, so they are absolutely a great thing to help deal with the cruisers, but things like Vikings, Ravens, other battle cruisers, perfectly fine answers as well. At this point, we're starting to have a little bit of an issue in the income. Blue has been losing a few workers here and there, trying to take some extra bases. They do have this one up and running rather solidly, too. The worker count, I'm sorry, they're both at 39 SCVs. Like, how many losses have we actually had? Blue's lost a fair amount. Okay, so they have had to replace some. But really, nobody's over 50 workers? Ugh, the Widow Mine shots continuing to do dramatic damage. The Vikings trying to focus their fire as best they can. Yamatos go out left and right when the smoke clears and the dust settles. Red's army is just gone again. I think Blue can just take this. Like, you have 10 battle cruisers. It's 2 Thors. It's not that scary. Okay, Thors are scary, Indigos. Yes, apparently. Going to start to pick up the production on the outer perimeter here, and I think this is going to be the right decision. The Raven gets a bit too close. That's not going to work out too well. Yamato onto one of the full health cruisers, which isn't an ideal choice. Smart servo kicking in. They switched into that cannon mode rather speedily. With great haste comes many cannons. Somebody probably once never said. Widowmines continuing their trend, continuing their business as they like to. What's our thoughts here? What's our plan? I mean, Blue's in, I think, a solid winning position here. I can't see, like, Blue would have to really blunder this, I think. To have an 11 battlecruiser army up against 3 Thors, like, you need to just jump on top of the Thors at this point. Oh, gonna start to bleed off. 1 cruiser goes down already. We either need to hit multiple spots at once or just jump onto the Thors so they can't actually get away. Or scare you into trying to leave, I guess. That's another option. Widowmines, I don't think are going to cut it too supremely well. But I like your gumption, son. Red, they're adding on extra barracks, which I do not feel like is a really good answer. Scan goes out. Losing some Marines here and there. The Thors commit again. Jump onto the Thors. The perfect move, I would say. Gets right on top of them. Yamato's them down. The Thors have fallen. And with it, I would wager the defense. There's nothing. There's only 19 SCVs. We're making 6 Marines. We're not making anything. We're making our way out the door is where we're going, apparently. Okay. Well, you just add that one to the list of rather intriguing decisions and compositions. A well-earned victory to Forever Noob. May you forever make just Widowmines and Battlecruisers. That is it. They only made Widowmines and Battlecruisers. Quite the meme composition, but hey, it worked out rather well. Oh god. I cannot dare end the day on that one. That was a bit much. So I'm gonna say one more on the menu. Let's do it. The next match of the day will be played on the map Taito Citadel here. We start off with a Red Terran command center. All factions are represented. Thank gosh. We have Ski Inc. And another Terran in the bottom right here, the blue SCVs and command center of ELV. Or ELV, if you will. Like, what if it's elves, but there's only one? Okay, and you're like, it should be elf. No, this one thinks it should be elv. Okay. A TVT for our lovely day today. A treat, I would say. A TVT viewer match. That's always something that I think goes completely disastrously. Just, it never goes as expected. We will see what is the choice. What are the choices made for both of these players? They're both Terran, after all. We've got the single gas opener for them both, which I think is fine. Leads pretty well into just a normal Reaper type of play. Second gas on the way. That's also fine. That's the normal, I will say. Go for, instead of the quick expand, we go for the quicker factory. Of course, we'll have to see what they actually decide. No, I mean, okay, fine. Yeah, it's okay. I would have liked it, like, maybe over here somewhere. Just to help spot for potential Reaper shenanigans, but Red is not actually going for really much of anything, just quite yet. They have the gas for a Reaper. They wanted the quick factory, which is actually not a terrible choice for a TVT type of play. You still want to usually get a type of Reaper, but we know from at least the last match, the viewer challenge days are anything but normal. Who scanned? Really? You're okay, well, that was actually a really well-placed scan, I will say. The only real loss was, of course, up here, which the blue has decided to throw their factory up there. Reaper sent across for blue here. That's a lot of tech, Batman. What are we doing with this? We got a factory, tech lab, starport, and armory, all on the way at the same time. Is this a Thor drop? Are you really going for a Thor drop? What? I'm trying to think, what do we need all of those pieces for? I kind of doubt it's Drilling Claws Widow Mines. I'd be a little surprised. Like, you're letting him do exactly what he wants to do, which is micro the Reaper instead of doing anything else. You might be thinking, wow, this is going really badly for Red. And it is. I mean, Red's not making much of anything behind this either. But at least Red has the excuse of having a Reaper in his base, I suppose. Blue, on the other hand, was not making much of anything and didn't have a Reaper in his base. So I guess that's worse. Nobody's doing well, I will say, but at least it's varying degrees of good and gooder, which is about all we can really hope for. You just have to try to be less bad than your opponent. Oh my god, you are making a Thor. What is this? You're making a fusion core? The starport's getting a tech lab too. No, what is this Thor battle cruiser jambalaya here? Are you for real? Get out. Get out of here. What is this pile of swill mess garbage I'm looking at? It's not even going to be a Thor drop. You're just going to walk him across. I don't know. The fusion core is done, completed. They're still a little bit off from affording the battlecruiser, because the battlecruiser, as I'm sure you lovely Terrans know, 400, 300. The thing is wildly more expensive than a command center at requiring that extra 300 gas. Okay, they're doing it. Thor battlecruiser. In a literal sense, too. Like one Thor, one battlecruiser. On the other side, we have a perhaps slightly degreed more towards normal play. We have a Banshee move, double Banshee actually, with Cloak. The barracks I saw got stim for the 5 Marines we have. Yes, they're Republic Commando type of Marines here. Space Marines, if you will. They're super soldiers. Why would we give them combat shields, though? That just wouldn't make any sense. No, instead, we've got Marine Hellion, double Banshee. The Thor has found his SCV posse here. The emotional support. That's a lot of SCVs, actually. They did leave themselves some. Well, the Thor finds the Hellions, or perhaps more likely the Hellions found the Thor. Lost 2 out of 3 for no effort. Where's the battlecruiser at? The battlecruiser is done. Are they gonna jump it? Oh, the Banshees made their move. Cloak was initiated. Thor takes a little bit of damage. I hear the jump. On top of the main. There is a missile turret already here and in play. I definitely would be a little careful. Red cannot lose either of these units. Is this really all you have? This is it. 1 Thor, 1 battlecruiser? Are you kidding me? This can't work. Come on. Well, the Banshees left their cloak on for a bit too long. Will actually start to run out of energy. The Banshee also not targeting the SCVs. They're just repairing the Thor. This can't work. There's no way. This is so dumb. This can't work. Come on. The Yamato cannon, the missile turret down. The Banshee loses its cloak. There's no more units. Oh my god, they're doing it. What is this? 2 more Banshees on the way. One of them will pop out, but the Banshees have no way of dealing with the battlecruiser. They don't shoot air, of course. The battlecruiser is going to be completely fine. There's one Widow Mine, which might do more damage to the SCVs. Are you making a depot? What you need is a missile turret, my friend. The deep. You gotta be kidding me. The Thor still doing its work in the natural. Completes, actually. Looks like leaving just one missile turret to tell the tale. Second Banshee shows up. The first one loses the cloak, though, which is going to be a serious problem. Thor takes it out. Second Banshee initiates the cloak again. Scan this time will be enough to deal with it. Third Banshee now, cloak initiated. Yamato. He gets it with the Yamato. The Thor really needs to help out and take out the starport. Okay. Like, the Banshees are really the only thing that's doing any damage to this. They've bled off a few of the SCVs, but at this point, I think they may have done it. One of the starports goes down, another Banshee will pop out, but this time now there's a missile turret. They did actually make a turret, which I think will at least provide a little bit of detection radius. Red can just sit near the turret at this point. Yeah, you just sit near the missile turret, the battlecruiser can do its thing. Oh my gosh, they lose the Banshee. Wow. No GG. So let's recap here. So this one, okay. Should we do the, yeah, okay, we're done. We can do the challenge requirements. Alarak, come on, release me from my pain, my struggle.
You are unworthy of my conversation.
Oh, thank you, as always, of course. Much appreciated, my friend. So, the challenge requirements for this month, I bid willing and wonderful participants to choose 2 combat units to go about their game. I said pick your favorite 2 units. You can make workers, you can make non-combat units like overlords, overseers, observers, prisms, that kind of thing, and those 2 units. So you can have zealots and immortals in the case of our first match there with the Protoss. If you want Roach Hydra, go for it. What I didn't expect was for a particular Red Terran here to take those words very literally, because I meant 2 types of units. Two things like I want to make Zerglings and Roaches, and then they make 150 Zerglings and 25 Roaches, sure. But a wonderful, lovely Red Terran here has decided to take my words so literally that they only made 2 units. Okay, 1 Thor, 1 battlecruiser. And I love it, okay? Absolutely well done. I will say a congratulations and a well-earned victory to everyone who participated and sent in a submission, but a lovely highlight clap for my dear Red Terran here, Skim. I'm gonna say you definitely have won this month in my eyes, because this was both creatively thought and beautifully executed, so marvelous job. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you would like to submit a match of your own, or at least participate and enjoy the challenge requirements each month, I urge you to check out the Discord in the link, using the link in the description below. Have a chat, see the requirements, maybe just have a good time, alright? Either way. I will say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you again for everyone who submitted today. Wonderful games. As always, I hope you all have a great day.